Alright, so the crypto buzz is back.
Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm.
What's the procedure, everyone? What's the procedure?
Stay calm.
At the time of recording this video, Bitcoin is currently up around 25% in the past month, and Ethereum is actually up almost double its original value as it was back in mid-July. And that leads me into exactly where I am taking this video today, and that is diving into everything that we need to know about the cryptocurrency Ethereum. Firstly, I'm going to start off by explaining exactly what is Ethereum and why it's actually completely different to Bitcoin, something that people still don't quite understand to this day. From there, I'm going to be talking about two key things that I think could push Ethereum to $10,000. And then finally, I'm going to be talking about an honest way that I personally believe that you should be approaching investing into cryptocurrencies in general, but especially Ethereum. So yeah, let's not waste any more time. Smash that like button down below to help this video get out to more people. But having said all that, let's jump straight into it. Okay, so what is Ethereum and what actually makes it so unique to Bitcoin? So Ethereum was founded in late 2014 by a 19-year-old genius called Vitalik Buterin, who had the vision of creating a decentralized open source computing platform that enables the creation of smart contracts and decentralized applications. Sounds extremely confusing, right? Don't worry, let's go a little bit deeper and break all of that down. Okay, so the main difference between Ethereum and Bitcoin is that whilst they are both built on the same blockchain technology, Bitcoin is essentially considered to be a digital currency that has been made for a way to people to send and receive money over the internet. It has been decentralized through the blockchain without any kind of central control, unlike our traditional currencies today. Ethereum, however, is not a currency, but more so a middleman that plans to replace the way that we send and receive different types of data and assets. For example, if I wanted people around the world to see this video that I am making in my office at my house, I would need to use a middleman called YouTube to be able to distribute this video content to the world. Or let's say I wanted to sell this house to somebody else, what I would likely have to do is use people like estate agents and solicitors as middlemen to actually be able to make that happen. And the problem with both of these is that in both cases I am going to have to hand over personal data, which I don't exactly know what it's going to be used for in the future. And then the other thing is I'm going to have to experience things like downtime on YouTube or maybe delays when purchasing a house. Now Ethereum basically plans to solve all of those issues by replacing those middlemen with something they call smart contracts. And a smart contract is basically an application that will run as programmed without any possibility of downtime, censorship, fraud, or any third-party interference. For example, if you wanted to go ahead and buy your neighbor's house, what they could basically do is set up a smart contract where you know exactly what you are going to be getting up front. You're going to be able to see all of the details of the previous owners of that house, and what will happen is that when you meet a certain requirement of that contract, most of the time in this case it would be paying the money, what is going to happen is that the names and the details are going to be transferred over to that house instantly without the worry of any additional lawyer fees or anything like that. And the important thing about all of this is that the person that is sending and the person that is receiving know exactly the terms of that contract before they make that deal. Another really good example of where smart contracts are actually being used all the time is actually during the latest craze that is going on right now, and that is NFTs. Now, I'm not going to get into NFTs in this video, but basically what they are online digital assets that have their own unique code, making them unique to you. And like I said, all of these can be sold and bought through a smart contract. And why this is so important, with digital assets, you're going to want to know exactly what you are getting. And when you fulfill your side of the promise of that smart contract, that digital asset is going to come to you straight away without having to wait for somebody to send it or anything like that. One of the main benefits in this example, of course, is going to stop scams from happening. I have actually personally bought digital assets from eBay myself and have never received them in the end. Doing it through a smart contract is going to solve all of these problems. Alright, so the question we have to answer now is that if Ethereum isn't a digital currency, how can you actually own any Ethereum? Well, this is where something called Ether comes in, which is basically the fuel that powers the Ethereum network. Just like how your favorite Xbox or PlayStation game has its own personal in-game kind of currency, Ether is the currency that powers Ethereum, and Ether is the coin that you're going to buy to invest into if you want to invest into the Ethereum network. And that is a basic overview of exactly what Ethereum is and why it is completely different to Bitcoin. Bitcoin is a currency. Ethereum is the middleman that facilitates the process of sending and receiving those currencies in a safe and secure manner. If you did want to dive deeper into Ethereum, then I highly suggest checking out Andre Jick on YouTube, who is my kind of go-to guy for anything cryptocurrency. But for now, let's talk about my two main cases as to why I think Ethereum could potentially go to $10,000 in the future and maybe even beyond. Case number one, mass adoption of cryptocurrencies in general. Every single day, more and more people are investing and becoming more aware of cryptocurrencies, with Bitcoin and Ethereum being the leading forefront runners of that. There are massive companies out there that have started buying up Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies because they know that cryptocurrencies are going to be there for the future, and this is just naturally going to happen more and more as time goes on. The more people hear about cryptocurrencies in the news, the more people are going to be intrigued and want to learn about them. Equaling, the more people are going to invest into them and the price is actually going to go up. And what I really like about all of this is that there has been a little bit of a trend that has gone around for the last couple of years, and that is simply with Bitcoin being the number one cryptocurrency. Normally what happens is if Bitcoin goes up, normally all the other altcoins, which are basically coins that are not Bitcoin, will go up as well. And of course, if the opposite happens and Bitcoin does go down, then normally the same pattern happens. But the general trend over the last 10 years, in fact, the last decade, Bitcoin was the highest asset that went up the most over the past 10 years. So if we are looking at it from a long-term perspective, with Bitcoin continuing to rise, this is only going to lift up the other cryptocurrencies below it, and with Ethereum being number two, it's got a pretty good chance of going up as well. Case number two is its functionalities and use cases. So when people talk and speculate about Bitcoin, it's normally about whether the fact it can actually become a common currency that people use on a day-to-day basis. If you go and ask most Bitcoin enthusiasts what they actually spend their Bitcoin on and what their actual use cases is for it right now, you're normally greeted with a really long pause. And that is because right now, whilst it has amazing prospects for the future, you can't really do too much with it other than speculate on its price for the future. Whereas Ethereum, however, presents many more examples of where it can actually be useful right now. Number one, the amount of businesses and applications being created now using smart contracts. This opportunity is completely endless, and people like developers that are wanting to get into cryptography and anything within this business, we are right at the bottom at the moment, and there is so much potential for expansion of this in the future. And then secondly, of course, we have the NFT market. Now, I'm not saying that this market cap is going to directly impact the price of Ether, because Ether is just the currency that is being used to exchange smart contracts for NFTs. However, if you do want to get into these exclusive digital arts and all of these different assets, the one thing that you're going to have to understand is how to actually pay for them using Ether, and this is only going to bring more exposure to the Ethereum network, potentially leading to more people investing into the currency. So they are my two main fundamental cases as to why I think Ethereum is going to go up in the future. Of course, these are two base cases that I've presented to you. I've personally looked into loads myself, but I didn't want to include it in this video simply because I wanted to keep it as basic as possible to give you guys a good idea if you are looking towards investing into this currency. So that's what we're actually going to talk about now. I want to share with you my personal opinion on the way that you should be investing into not just only Ether, but also general cryptocurrencies as a whole, because whilst things can be really good investing into cryptocurrencies, things can get really bad as well, and I want to limit your risk as much as possible. So let's get into that. Okay, so just like I mentioned, investing into something like Ethereum can be extremely rewarding, but at the same time it's going to be extremely risky. Anything out there that can double in value in under a month can definitely come down much quicker, because this just simply isn't a stable investment. There is so much volatility, mainly due to the speculation of cryptocurrencies out there, and this is something that you're going to have to understand and manage as an investor. And the way that I would like to approach cryptocurrencies, and the way that I would personally do it in my own portfolio, is by doing something called dollar cost averaging. Now, what is dollar cost averaging, you may ask? So let's say you've done your research, you've taken a look at Ethereum, and you have realized that this is the cryptocurrency that I want to invest in, and I want to get involved with it right now. And as excited as you may be, you may think the best idea with your investment into Ethereum is just to take all of the money that you have in your name and just ship it all into your investment straight away and just forget about it. And whilst forgetting about it and ignoring those short-term price movements is a good thing, investing all your money into it straight away isn't such a good idea. And the reason why I say this, so let's use an example that you did invest all of your money into Ethereum today. Now, let's say tomorrow Ethereum's price was to completely crash. Maybe some news came out that Ethereum wasn't doing too well, it wasn't going to be a currency of the future or anything like that, and it crashed the price completely. Now, what you are left with there is your investment at a lower value with no more money to invest into that currency. You are simply just going to have to sit there and wait for your investment to go up over time so that you are back in the green. Now, this could take a day, this could take a week, it could take a month, or it could even potentially take years. Now, if you didn't invest all of your money in straight away and you only invested a fraction, and the same thing was to happen where Ethereum was to drop the next day, what you are then left with is more money in your actual account that you can potentially invest into Ethereum at a lower price, essentially meaning you're going to be getting more Ethereum for cheaper. Then basically what will happen from here is, when eventually, whether it be days, weeks, months, or years, that price of Ethereum was to go back up, you are going to get more of a gain because you are buying that coin at a cheaper price. This is what dollar cost averaging is. Another thing that I think you should consider when devising an investment strategy into Ethereum is to make sure that you are well diversified in other areas. Now, like I said at the start, Ethereum cryptocurrency investments right now is simply a speculative investment, and this is something that you do not want to be dominating your entire portfolio. Taking me as an example, my cryptocurrency investments only account for 5% of my entire investment portfolios. This way I know that if Ethereum was to crash completely down to the bottom, I've got 95% of my investments diversified across other areas, and I'm not going to be completely dead in the water with my investments. So the key thing here is to make sure, yes, if you want to invest into Bitcoin or Ethereum or any other cryptocurrencies, make sure you do that, but also make sure that you are well diversified in other areas and industries as well. But realistically, just as a whole, understand the risks of investing into cryptocurrencies, diversify your portfolio, and then finally dollar cost average. Do not ship all of your money in straight away. Just take a small chunk and invest it every single month at different prices. If you did want to get started investing into cryptocurrencies, well, the main ones anyway, and you are a beginner, then I highly suggest checking out Coinbase. What I will actually do is leave a link in the description down below, which can actually get you some free Bitcoin if you were to sign up through that link. It's a great platform. It's absolutely fantastic for beginners, and I still use it with my crypto investments. Other than that, hit a like on this video if you did find it useful, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Take care.